Please give it up for Dan Green!
Thanks very much. Good evening, my name is Dan Green, and tonight, as well as sort of trying to traverse a live audience and an internet audience, I'm also going to be doing some newish material, and also I've only recently just got back off holiday, so my body clock's a bit sort of squiffy. So if you don't find any of this funny, you've got to bear in mind that I'm currently 4.5 hours ahead of you. So you'll go back home and go, well, yeah. But yeah. My name is Dan Green, and tonight I'd like to talk to you about death. Yeah? Get ready for some big laughs. But don't worry, not just death. I want to talk to you about death, bereavement, and planning a funeral. Yeah? Yeah, strap in. But yeah, no, I lost my dad at the start of the year. So, I mean, if you do find him, can I have him back, please? And yes, I have looked down the back of the sofa, and no, I can't remember where I last put him. Now, that's the first joke of my 10 minutes, and I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to be the only joke. So you might want to remember this point as a high point. But I lost my dad at the start of the year, and I don't know if you've lost anyone close to you, but to sum it up, it's not nice. And there's a lot of things that happen. Crying mainly, a lot of crying. But one of the first things that happens, when you go to the hospital, the nurse sits you down and she says, right, you're going to have to go to the registry to collect a certificate. And in my head, I thought, yes! Because as a child, I was quite hard-working. And I always saw a certificate as a sign of achievement. And I know a certificate's just a piece of paper, but, you know, a certificate is life's little way of saying, well done. And you can collect the full range. Well done. You've been born. Have a certificate. Well done. You've got married. Have a certificate. Well done. You've swum 25 metres in your pyjamas. Have a certificate. And yes, that is the advised order to achieve those things in. But I always thought it was a little bit off just to give someone a certificate for being dead. One, they're not going to appreciate it. Two, that's a bit like saying, well done, you've given up on life. Have a certificate. But, you know, I collected it, put it in a frame with the others anyway. And, no, but the funniest thing about the certificate is it's literally there to certify the death. You have to get another person to certify the death, as if one nurse's opinion wasn't quite good enough. A doctor, yes, nurse, this patient's dead. Well, I'll be the judge of that. Excuse me? Sir? Sorry? Oh. Madam? Are you dead? Oh. Seems you're a right nurse. Well done. Have a certificate. But the next thing that happens is the nurse gives you a booklet. And in this booklet, there's like a list of important people you need to contact. Now, apparently, my dad isn't the first person to have died. And they have dealt with this situation before. I was in good hands. Because, you know, your brain's not working right, you're all over the place. So there's like a list of people you need to contact in order. So things like the bank, insurance people, pension people, tax people, work people, council people, like all these important people. But quite high up in this important list of people, higher than insurance people and pension people, was the library. Just in case your deceased loved one has any overdue books. Now, I thought this was quite funny in itself, but I was chatting to a friend of mine who used to work in a library, and he said he dealt with a lot of these situations. Now, firstly, old people, they love a library. And he said that he sort of built relationships with these old people who'd come in over time. They'd sort of come in and do what old people do. You know, they'd read the papers, they'd read the books, they'd stay warm, they'd stay happy, and they'd go home. And they'd come in the next day, do what old people do. They'd read the papers, they'd read the books, they'd be casually racist, they'd stay warm, they'd stay happy, and go home. And then he wouldn't see them for a couple of weeks. And then some strangers would come in and he'd go, oh, I wonder who they are. And it obviously turns out to be the relatives of this deceased person. And they'd come to tell him he's died. He said it was really sad. And like he thought he knew these old people, but it turned out that he only sort of knew them through their choice of reading material. And they sort of swapped stories. And he said there was this really horrible ceremony then, that when they had to sort of hand over the membership card, and he had to delete all the like details off the file. And it felt quite final. And he was welling up just telling me this. And I said, well, I assume in those circumstances, if there's any overdue books, you don't bother with a fine? But then something snapped. And that old librarian instinct kicked in. And he went, no, rules are rules. It's 60p a day for the first 2 weeks, and then £1 a day for any consecutive weeks after that. Now, shh. And I'm all up for saving the libraries, I really am. But how evil do you have to be a librarian these days? I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith. I don't care what your excuses are. Your copy of Coping with Cancer was due in 2 weeks ago. That'll be £3.40.